When I'm not trying to figure out what on earth do I do when a family member requests a Christmas gift that I can't buy on Amazon, I like to answer questions and comments that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Sean, do you have any lessons on 3/4 time? Oh, have you come to the right place? Every song that I write is basically in 3/4, right? So most songs when you start out learning guitar, most of the popular songs, and still the popular songs, are in 4/4. That means a quarter note is 4 beats, and there's 4 beats in a bar, right? So if you're to strum just like a C chord, it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so you kind of get caught in this beginner thing where it's like down, 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 and a lot of beginners get caught in that one strumming pattern that they can't break out of, right? God forbid you're a ukulele player where you're stuck in the down, down, up, up, down, 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 up, down, up. That's the worst thing. If that's you, you might actually need a little more help than I can provide in this video. But even the ukulele pattern is still in time. It's in 4, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what I think is the best way for beginners to kind of break out of that, learn new strumming patterns, is to learn something in 3/4, all right? So same concept, but instead of counting to 4, we count to 3, or sometimes 6, which I'll also talk about, right? So let's start out just by doing this really easy yet classy chord. This is the 3/4 of beginner chords, C major 7 with a G in the bass, right? So all you have is your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string, pinky on the 3rd fret of the A string, middle finger 2nd fret on the D string, and then open on the top, okay? So when we count to 3, the first strumming pattern that we're going to do is going to go 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. So we're playing in 3/4, okay? Now we can think of this as its own strumming pattern. We can think of this as a gateway into more complex stuff, which we're going to talk about in a second. But this is also known as a waltz, all right? Now to really get it to sound better than just like what we're going to do is we're going to dynamically separate the strums into the low strings and the high strings. What I love about this particular chord is in the low strings, we have like a C major chord, right? Which is just like a triad. We have a G, a C, and an E. That makes a C major. And in the high strings, we have a G, a B, and an E, which makes an E minor. So we can think of this as 2 chords actually, C major and E minor. But combined, they make a C major 7. It's kind of like a business in the front, party in the back chord, right? So what I mean by separating them in a strumming pattern, for the 1 count, I'm just going to work on the lower strings, the business section, right? 1, 2, and 3, and. Now the 2 and the 3 are going to be downstrokes on that minor chord, the open string set. A really easy one to play for anybody, beginner, intermediate, whatever. And then now for just the 2 and the 3 count, I'm going to add the and, the upstroke, right? 2 and 3 and. Alright, so 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. Change it around if you want. E minor, A minor, okay, so that is like at its simplest, just like one of the easiest ways to get into new strumming patterns, right? It's always going to sound good if you use Elixir Strings. Elixir Strings is sponsored this video. If you can't tell, I'm not in my usual spot because I'm traveling. This has become just as important as my passport now, using Elixir 80/20/12s on any guitar that I'm playing, because again, my hands reject anything that doesn't have Elixir Strings on it at this point. So show them some love with the affiliate link in the description, right? So far we've got this one pattern. And the nice thing about having that 1 count and then the 2 and 3 and, resist the urge to do an upstroke on the 1. You could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, but I want to leave space on that 1 count, right? That 1 beat. 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and. It really kind of announces the chord that you're playing, especially when you start changing chords. You could just go down 2 frets to make a D major and an E minor on top, right? 1, 2, and 3, and 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 C major to D major. Alright, right? So by having that space, you're training yourself good counting and good rhythm, which is going to come in handy when you do maybe more complex stuff, right? The question that was originally posed on a video where I was doing like one of my original songs, the strumming pattern is like... which is also in 3, but there's a lot more going on. But really, once you break it down to the fundamentals, it's not that difficult. It's just thinking in a different way to get out of that strumming kind of rut that a lot of people get in, right? So now let's make it a little bit more complicated by playing something in 6, okay? Now you can think of this as playing 2 bars in 3 or 1 bar in 6 for the purposes of playing guitar, rhythm guitar. Doesn't really matter how you think of it. You can still think of it as waltz. Say you're playing in 3, say you're playing in 6, doesn't really matter. But what we're gonna do is gonna sound like this. Kind of tell that's a little bit different, right? Because now I'm putting a dynamic on the 1 and the 4. Kind of like if we were just counting to 3 twice, I could put the dynamic on the 1, 2, and 3, and 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So it doesn't really matter for the purposes of how we're communicating. But what we're doing is we're going to add more of maybe a percussive type element to a group of 6 notes or 2, 3 counts. So what I mean by that is let's take that same chord, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Okay? So now the low strings and the high strings are each getting their own 3 count. 1, 2, and 3, and. Okay, I'm kind of sticking in the lower part of the chord, E, A, and D string. If I venture into that G string, it's fine. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and. Right? So that 4 count, or the second 1 count, really kind of has a little bit more action on it, like maybe a drum kit would have with like a snare hit or something like that. The secret to good strumming and good accompanying guitar is to really think of the striking of the strings almost as how a drummer or a percussionist would think of how they're going to keep the beat, right? So, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Okay? The reason I'm not doing the and of 6 on that last one is I want to give myself ample time to get back to the 1. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, and 3. D. 4, 5, and 6, and. You can maybe just add the little and stroke at the end, but really the whole point is getting that timing into your hand, right? Whether you're using a pick or your thumb. You can kind of hear with that 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that kind of back and forth. This is just like C major to D major to E minor. A wild E minor, which I talked about in a video last week. But let's go to a traditional E minor and do one more thing that I want to talk about, because incorporating the strumming count into your fretting hand is also a very underrepresented thing when we're talking about learning strumming patterns. What I mean by that is something like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and. That sounds like a very old Western type thing, but you can do it. Having these hammer-ons within the chord that you're not playing with your strumming hand, you're playing actually with your fretting hand, okay? I like using this E minor as an example because we're going to hammer on the A string open to 2, alright? So the trick here is to hammer on in time. 1, 2, and 3, and. See how that's like 1, and 2, and 3, and. Okay, so the and of 1, we've left blank, or just some space there. So now we have to come down 1, and 2, and 3, and, which is maybe trickier because it's almost like you're strumming with the actual hammer-on finger. You have to be in time with that. Developing the coordination between your fretting hand and your strumming hand is, again, like I said, a very underrepresented thing in guitar education, in my opinion. What I mean by like the timing of it is a lot of times when people start hammering on within chords, they'll do it too fast, right? They'll be like 1, 2, 3. I've seen a lot of students kind of do that broken type thing. You want to have the hammer-on land on the note that you're going for. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and however you want to count it. But remember, make sure, I'm just doing it now with the C major 7, middle finger, hammering on the D string, 2nd fret. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and then eventually, when you have good timing between both your hands are working together, then you can kind of get into like that cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it all starts with that really easy 3/4 timing 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1 hammer, whatever, however you want to count it. But it's gonna make you a better player, so try it. Good stuff, nice mic. Look at Chet Baker, My Funny Valentine. So this is on the video I posted yesterday about me trying my croon experiment where I was doing some Bobby Darin, some Frank Sinatra, Little Beyond the Sea. I also just posted a lesson on how to play Beyond the Sea and Flying with the Moon on my Patreon, so check that out if you're interested. But check out that video because it's like a microphone demo, but it's me just being a total clown and trying to get old school on you crooning. So watch that video, let me know what you think. Guitar doesn't sound great, just the opinion of a guitarist that's been playing for 30 years. I love that, you know, it's like, guitar doesn't sound great. You know, that's fine. I play a lot of guitars. I demo a lot of guitars on this channel. Some of them sound better than others. I like the sound of this D'Angelico personally. But it's funny. It's like, you know, so I'm always open to constructive criticism. If you don't like the sound of a guitar, that's fine. But then to qualify it with just the opinion of someone who's been playing well beyond your years and been superior in every decision making you could ever possibly make. It's like the jerk had to come out at the end of it, right? And isn't that the thing about like constructive criticism? Like it starts out maybe constructive, but then they just turn into the jerk by the end of it. They're like, what, you can't handle constructive criticism? Beginners don't know anything about guitars, Moroni. Isn't that like a Mormon god? Remember when you didn't know crap? You're still there. Beginners don't know anything about guitar. That's the funny thing. I think this was like based on a beginner lesson where like the background for having it was knowing like a C major and a G major chord. And I guess that was too much for beginners to know because once you know anything about a guitar, you're not a beginner anymore. So beginners don't know anything. My private photo here, Firefire. Thanks, fan. Hit me up. I have something for you. Gift emoji. So this was a new one where the spam bot replied to the sex bot's comment in the comment section. That's amazing. So one thing that has been plaguing YouTube and all social media are these like scam bots that are like, hey, I won something for you, and they'll take a picture of me and it'll make it seem like it's from me. Guys, I'm not gonna be like, hey fan, got a gift for you, just wire some money to the Philippines. That's not gonna be me, just so you know. I'll maybe do some giveaways coming up soon, but they'll definitely be spoken here on a video and not by one of the bots in the comments. But it's cool that now the bots are trying to scam each other, so progress? A bagel without a hole is a bun. Cheers, Sean and BB. So this was on my great ideas video I did with my friend Banana Bonnie the other day, which has some million, if not billion-dollar ideas in it. And it sparked this outrage about my idea of unholy bagels, right, is the name of it, where it's just bagels without the hole in it. Now, I have gotten into some serious debates on what a bagel versus a bun is, and there's clearly a difference between the consistency of a bagel with a hole in it in my mind. Now, some people have educated me that it's hard to, you can't really cook the bagel like a bagel without that hole in it, which means we're gonna have to twice bake it for unholy bagels, my trademark business name, by the way, to put the hole in after the initial baking. But I think this is a great idea. So there's a lot more great ideas in that video, which I'll also link you to. including sad national anthems, which is an idea that I stand behind 100%. But watch that video too because it's pretty funny. Alright, listening homework is going to be the Lo-Fi Christmas album that I made a couple years ago. I was listening to that again because it's, you know, it's a holiday spirit, and I love how that turned out. So if you guys haven't listened to that, check it out. Let me know what you think. Thanks to Elixir for sponsoring this video. Like I said, affiliate link is in the description. Get yourself or a loved one some Elixir strings this holiday season. The perfect stocking stuffer. And you can get it off of Amazon, so you know you won't be totally confused as how to even purchase a gift if it's not on an Amazon wish list. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, leave me in the comment section, Instagram, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.